Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour two, final hour of the week here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If not, we'll get you to the finish line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Talk recruiting with Sam Spiegelman coming up here in 30 minutes. I'll keep you updated on LSU and Indiana from Jacksonville. Tigers lead 2-0, but Hoosiers posing a threat here in the third inning. They got the bases loaded and one out. You know, on this show, on this station, we kind of stick to LSU, football, basketball, baseball, and the Saints. That's our bread and butter here. And in the course of doing that, I cover a lot of things. Cover the games on the field. We talk about college football and baseball and basketball recruiting. We talk about the NFL draft. We talk about NFL free agency. We talk about bracketology in baseball and basketball at the college level, college football playoff rankings. And I feel different levels of comfort in discussing those different topics. There is nothing in the course of scope in this job that I feel less comfortable analyzing than the NFL salary cap, period. Point blank, end of discussion. So to do that, we got to bring on people that know what they're doing. Ross Jackson knows what he's doing. Locked on Saints, LouisianaSports.net. Here to help me out here on this Friday. Ross, how are you, sir?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. All right, let's talk salary cap. The Saints are right now $8 million over the cap. Explain to me what that means at this point of the year relative to what we're usually looking at this point.
Yeah. So the easiest way to think about this is that they're effectively $8 million in debt. Now, if you or I, Hunt, were $8 million in debt, we'd be running for the hills.
Problem.
The Saints, you're right. The Saints, however, $8 million in debt effectively is a really positive outlook for where they are. I'll take you back to 2021. The Saints were $100 million over the salary cap at that time. The year after that, they were about $70 million over the salary cap. The next year, they're around $40 to $50 million over the salary cap. So it's progressively gotten better for New Orleans, but $40 million might as well be $100 million, might as well be, whatever. So for the Saints, though, going into this new league year, which is on March 11th, they're projected to be, let's just call it less than $10 million over the salary cap, because this number might move a little bit depending upon what the actual salary cap is. It hasn't been made official yet, but it should move a little bit. But the Saints could be in a really, really good position here going into 2026.
So there, obviously, with that lessened number comes a little bit more flexibility with spending. Describe your thought on how aggressive they may or may not be over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think they'll be aggressive in attacking needs and going and signing players that fit those needs. I don't think, though, that the Saints are going to be in the business of resetting market values. And really, if we really think about it, the Saints haven't been in that business for external free agents pretty much since Jairus Byrd, right? Like, Jairus Byrd was really the last player that they signed that reset a positional market. And that was not somebody that was already in their building, right? Michael Thomas was a different story. He was re-signing all that. Drew Brees in the times where they kind of like topped the quarterback market or got close to topping the quarterback market. That was somebody in-house, so on and so forth. And so I do think that this will free them up to go out there and address the needs that they have. Interior offensive line, they could look to add some weapons on offense. They could look potentially to address the interior of their defense, maybe even look at edge rushers in this year's free agency class as well. But I look at the Saints as a team that is now in position to be active, but not necessarily ready yet to be aggressive, if that makes sense.
It does. So let's talk about, they got use for talented players all over the field, obviously. Is there a position or two that makes more sense in free agency than it does in the draft?
Yeah, I think interior offensive line is where I'd start there. They don't have a starting left guard on the roster right now, right? They brought in Trevor Penning years ago to play tackle. He played left tackle. They moved him to right tackle. They moved him to left guard, and they traded him to Los Angeles. When they traded him to Los Angeles last year, they put Dylan Radins, who was the former starting guard for 10-plus games with the Tennessee Titans in 2024. They put him in at left guard. That went okay. But I don't know that that's necessarily the direction that you want to go for your starter in 2026. And so right now, I don't know that they really have a starter at that position on their roster. And so going to free agency there makes sense because development of offensive linemen in college doesn't really start until they get to the NFL, with some exceptions, particularly interior offensive linemen. And so going out there and drafting somebody is great, but drafting somebody and starting them there as your starting left guard week one is going to take a little bit of time for things to settle in, people to get into rhythm, all that kind of stuff. You can go and find an NFL player with NFL experience to do your NFL job for your NFL team. Go and do that instead. And so I think free agency makes a lot of sense for them there. If the team were to lose Demario Davis, I could also see them going to linebacker in free agency as well.
Ross Jacklin's our guest, LouisianaSports.net, of course, Locked On Saints as well. You mentioned if Demario Davis were to move on. I realize that we're not close to that decision ultimately, but he and Cam Jordan are the two names of the offseason. Are you sensing anything on those two fronts?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm sensing anything just yet. Really, those conversations are going to we're going to start to see some movement around that next week in Indianapolis, I imagine. Everyone's all in the same place. People are having conversations, all that kind of stuff. So I would expect that we'll see some progress or hear some updates around that floating around throughout my time in Indianapolis next week. And so I think that that's where we'll get a better glimpse of that. But I could see this playing out either way. It's a unique situation, right? I mean, it's not very often that you have a 36, 37-year-old player finishing up on a voiding contract that also just had a career high in tackles.
Yeah.
Those two things aren't usually the same player. And so it's going to be a really unique contract negotiation, but I think we'll start to see some movement in that in the coming weeks.
So let's go back to the free agent side of things. You mentioned left guard is a spot that they're likely to, or it makes sense to add a starting player. Is there another spot or two on the field that you think it could add a free agent starter to this roster?
Yeah, I think maybe, this is another one that's dependent upon what happens with a voiding contract, but let's say Cam Jordan isn't back. That could be, but really honestly, even if Cam Jordan is back, I could see potentially dipping into the free agency market at edge rusher making sense. They have some really good edge rushers out there going into this year's market. Levon Chason, of course, who we know well, could come back to Louisiana. Could be somebody they could go and pursue. Adafe Owe is the guy they could go after. Uchenna Nwosu is somebody they could go after. Like, there's really good edge rushers that they could potentially look to pursue that would be good fits for what it is that Brandon Staley is doing over the defensive side. So that's a spot that I think makes sense. And I think, too, young veteran running backs could make a lot of sense because you can give yourself a compliment for Alvin Kamara that's proven, that's participated at the NFL level, that's made it happen at the NFL level. Otherwise, right now, the Saints running back room has promise, but is mostly question marks, if we're being honest about it. And so I think finding somebody that can give you a good compliment if Alvin Kamara and the Saints move forward through this year, that's great. But then also these veterans out there, Kenneth Walker III, Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, and others, those are all guys that could also be options for you for your future beyond Alvin Kamara. So it would give you an opportunity to help yourself now and help yourself later.
I'm curious your thoughts, and this is impossible to know because they wouldn't tell you outwardly, but what do you think the internal discussions about the Saints, do you think it's what makes us the best in 2026? Are they thinking what makes us the best over the course of this Tyler Shuck rookie contract? Like what do you think the discussions are about targets and aggressiveness are this offseason as they look towards the next few years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's there, and I'm probably going to answer the question the same way that they would publicly answer the question now that I think about it, but I think it is a little bit of trying to project all of that. I mean, when you're signing these players, if you're signing a player for 4 years, you have a 4-year projection for what that player, or at least a 4-year vision for what it is that player contributes, how they are involved and all that. And so I think that would cover both of those conversations, right? Like, this makes you better now and also gives you this piece for Tyler Shuck to have for the next 4 years. And, Mickey Loomis has said already that, there's a lot of things they have to work on in terms of a lot of questions that they want to answer. And that includes protecting Tyler Shuck on offense, but also giving Tyler Shuck weapons on offense. So I do think that a big part of that is not just looking at, can you protect him for 2026 and can you give him weapons for 2026, but can you protect him to the length of his rookie contract? Can you protect him beyond his rookie contract? And can you make your team better for the next, in terms of projection, for the next 3 to 4 years, as opposed to just for the next year? So I do think that there is some level of immediate help that has to be balanced with long-term projection as well. I think you have to. The good NFL franchises, winning NFL franchises, do both of those things.
Locked On Saints, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well, LouisianaSports.net every day for free. He is Ross Jackson. Safe travels to Indianapolis, Ross. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, buddy. Sounds great. Appreciate you. Take care. Stay safe. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure. That is Ross Jackson. Little bit of meltdown's a little bit of a strong word for LSU baseball right now, but things not going well in the bottom of the third for LSU. There's a controversial play where Indiana scored a run. The ball got lodged under the backstop. They've reviewed it twice now. Either way, Indiana's going to have a lead at this point. LSU was leading 2-0. Cason Evans is kind of rolling right along and has not in this inning. Right now, as it stands, it's 3-2. Indiana with one out in the bottom of the third, but that second run may come home. It may be 4-2 here. We'll see, but I'll keep you updated on that as we continue to move forward here on this Friday. We'll step aside. ESPN came up with a fun list, top 100 quarterbacks of the last 20 years. LSU's got some guys represented, a couple Heisman trophies, and I've got some quibbles with this list as well. We'll talk about it when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner, it's Heart Month over at Ochsner. February is Heart Month, a great time to focus on your overall health and wellness. Everyone does that in January. Most do. How about continuing that through February into March? Heart disease is the number one cause of death for men and women, and so often it is preventable. If you'll stay active with regular exercise, eat that balanced diet that's rich in fruits and vegetable and whole grains, manage that stress, try to get enough sleep, you can avoid smoking, limit alcohol intake, and contact your primary care provider. Regular checkups absolutely matter. Early detection and guidance can keep you on track for a healthy heart. So schedule that primary care appointment at oxford.org/BR-primary. Small steps today take to a stronger heart tomorrow. Check with your doctors and make sure you're on track for a healthy 2026. Locations throughout Louisiana. Ochsner can be found online at oxford.org.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust want to cover your car payments. Enter to win $5,000 plus a bonus shot at 6 months of Benny's Car Wash. Get extra entries by subscribing to our LouisianaSports.net daily newsletter. Enter now at 1045ESPN.com.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. I want to tell you about First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust, looking for that commercial loan. First American Bank and Trust, looking for that first loan for your home. First American Bank and Trust. They've been in Southeast Louisiana 116 years, 25 locations throughout our part of the state. There's always one near you, whether you're on the I-12 corridor in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa, maybe down the bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, or you're right here around Baton Rouge in Dutchtown, Jones Creek. They've got a location near you. Walk on by. You'll see somebody you know in there. It's a community bank that's run by community people. So when it's time to make a decision about your commercial loan, when it's time to make a decision about your personal loan, someone from your community makes that decision. It's not made in Seattle. It's not made in Atlanta or Chicago. It's made right here in Southeast Louisiana. When you go in, you'll see somebody who goes to church with you. You'll see somebody whose kids go to school with yours. It's a community bank with 25 locations. That means they've got the resources to help you out. So if you're a business looking for that loan, if you're a family looking for that home and need a loan, First American Bank and Trust is happy to help you out with it. And go by and see them. First American Bank and Trust. All right, LSU trailing 3-2 after 3 innings. Cason Evans really bowed up there and got a couple of strikeouts. Really did a nice job at the end of the third inning. They had runners on second and third and one out with a 1-run lead, and he got 2 strikeouts consecutively with good stuff. It hasn't been perfect for Cason, but he did a good job there at the end. I'll give my thoughts, and I'll have a write-up when this game goes final over at LouisianaSports.net. For now, let's transition over to the football side of things. ESPN had a fun little list ranking college football's top 100 quarterbacks of the last 25 years, so of the 2000s. Jordan, I don't know if you've looked at this list or not. I'm assuming you have not.
No, I haven't.
So where would you think Joe Burrow would rank on that list of the top 100 quarterbacks from the last 25 years? Maybe you can say first. If you think he's first, you can say that. If you don't think he's first, give me a couple of names, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names you think would be ahead of him. Potential names.
Whoa. You just said, I don't even think it's 8 people ahead of him. So,
okay, how many do you think are? If there are any.
Maybe 2, if that. Maybe 2. The 2 I'm thinking of off the top of my head, one would be Cam Newton.
Okay.
Just because they just like to hype Cam. I like Cam Newton though.
Cam and Joe, without telling you if that's right or wrong, Cam and Joe are similar because it's basically one supernova year. And there are other guys on this list of top 100 that are like 4-year, 3-year guys. They just exploded, took it by storm, and then moved on. So they're contemporaries in that way.
Okay, so Cam, and then the other one I think potentially could be over Joe Burrow would probably be Tebow.
Okay. Cam Newton is number 2 on this list.
Okay.
Tim Tebow is number 4 on this list.
So Joe's 1?
Joe is 5.
Whoa.
Joe is number 5 on this list.
Who's number 1? Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence?
No, Trevor Lawrence is way down. Trevor Lawrence is behind a few of these names. I saw him earlier. Let me scroll up and see. Trevor Lawrence is 11th on this list.
He's 11?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Number 1?
He never won a Heisman.
He never won a Heisman? Oh, you're Trevor Lawrence. I think you made the guy number 1. Okay, number 1. Damn, okay. Cam Newton, too?
I'll help you out with
give me a
this.
hint. Give me a hint.
Number 1, they're not saying based on talent.
Okay.
They're not saying based on what it's a career that they think is the best body of work.
So this
and
guy.
Somehow it's not Tebow, which is my complaint.
Okay, man. Can I get a school? Or is that too much of a giveaway?
There's 2 schools if that helps you out. Both of them in the Big 12.
Both of them in the Big 12, 2 schools.
One's not in the Big 12 anymore.
Oh, okay. So it's like either Oklahoma or Texas. Yep. Vince Young?
He's in your division.
In my division, right?
In the NFL.
Right. Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, number 1. I'm sorry. And Baker had a great career. I'm not taking Baker Mayfield over Tim Tebow in a college football career quarterbacks thing.
Not even close.
Baker was great. Like, he threw for a bajillion yards in the Big 12, and they had that incredible Rose Bowl, and he won a Heisman Trophy. Like, he was great. Tim Tebow was a force of nature. So if we're going to take Burrow and Newton and back them up for their greatest years ever, and then we're going to do this on body of work, don't tell me Baker Mayfield is ahead of Tim Tebow in that.
Way.
Tebow at 4. Now, I mean, they have the stats here. Tebow threw for 9,300 yards, and Baker threw for 14,600. So it's about 5,000 yards difference, which is a big deal. But you obviously realize that Baker ran for 1,000, and Tebow over his course of his career, ran for 2,900 yards and 57 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow is the SEC's all-time rushing touchdowns leader. Did you know that?
Did not.
I do trivia. It was at Pluckers, and then it was at Pizza by Roan's, and then it was at Court at the Table. And that's a great one because everyone always puts Herschel Walker, and they always put Darren McFadden, and it's Tim Tebow is the all-time leading rushing touchdowns leader in SEC history. Wow. Tebow's got to be ahead of Baker Mayfield on this. And then you go with the guys who shined the brightest, which Vince Young is 3. We haven't said that. So your top 5 are Baker Mayfield at 1, Cam Newton at 2, Vince at 3, Tebow at 4, and Burrow at 5. I can't totally push back. I was looking at the verbiage on the list to see if it said best, but it said top. If it said best, don't tell me Baker Mayfield was better than Joe Burrow. He was longer. It was longer than Joe Burrow. It was not better. I can't quibble too much with it. That's the top of this list. There's no chance I'm putting Baker ahead of Tebow. If I'm doing this list and we're going to do this based on career, it's going to be Tebow. Then it's probably going to be Cam and Joe. Okay. And then it's probably going to be Vince and Baker to me. And Vince Young was awesome, but that's probably the way that I'm going to go. Now the question becomes, where's Jaden?
Oh, JD 5. Well, if you said Trevor Lawrence is 11, he's not even. He might be 20.
I think that's almost right on the number.
Oh, just stop it. Stop it.
He's 20th on the number.
Let's go.
On the number,
Let's
Jaden
go.
Daniels.
Let's go.
And I can't complain because I wanted to complain. And so I started looking, okay, who's in front of him that I got to move Jaden over the top of?
Okay.
19 is Andrew Luck.
Ooh.
18 is Matt Leinart.
Heisman, too.
17 is Jameis Winston.
Can't do that.
16 is Sam Bradford. And then you get to 15, and I would have to think about it pretty hard. Your head coach.
Kellen Moore. Well, hey, man, he only lost like 2 games, man.
He beat San Diego State 30 times.
You're right.
He beat Nevada.
You're right.
He was beating the San Jose State.
Boise wasn't playing nobody.
He went 50-3. I got it. But what would Boise State have been if Jaden was their quarterback? 50-3?
Yeah, that'd be tough. That would have been nasty.
So, and what I think everyone watched Joe. Everyone watched Cam. You had to because they were running away with the sport. They were undefeated. They were prime time. Nobody was watching Jaden because LSU lost 2 games right out of the chute, lost to Florida State, lost to Ole Miss, and so everyone just tuned LSU out.
Yep.
He, in the last 10 games of that year, was unstoppable. Unstoppable. You turn on the Florida tape, and, like, no one can do that. Like, you tell Kellen Moore to do that.
No, he's not running for 200 yards.
Throw for 420 and run for 200. Run for an 80-yard touchdown, another 50-yard touchdown, chucking balls down the field. Like, he was the most accurate passer in the country. He was the most dynamic runner in the country. Like, he was a force. Now, there were 3 years before that where he was just good. Mm-hmm. And then he became unstoppable. But I think if Jaden had been on a championship team where everybody was watching, and then, like, they went to Tuscaloosa, first drive, right down the field, bang, touchdown. And LSU's playing right with him, and then Dallas Turner cheap shots him, disgusting targeting cheap shot, should have been ejected from the game, didn't even get a penalty, and Jaden's out.
Yep.
They might compete in that game, and then it's probably a different narrative. Now, he won the Heisman Trophy, but I can't beef too much. Fernando Mendoza's at 14.
Over JD?
Over Jaden.
I guess.
I mean, what did he? I don't even know what Mendoza did at Cal. I have no idea. You think I watched Cal? I didn't watch Cal.
No.
But he threw 41 touchdowns and won the Heisman last year.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jaden.
I see both sides, Hunt, because this man did.
He won a championship. He won the championship.
Indiana was the worst losingest program of all time, and he did bring them out the ashes. So I can. That's when I can. All right, okay.
Here's a question. You're young, so you
Yes.
probably can't do this as well as I can.
Not out, but we'll see.
Jaden's at 20.
Okay.
Colt McCoy is at 12.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a little above my time. A little bit.
The legacy is different because they're in the first quarter of the championship game, and he goes out because Marcel Darius sacks him. He goes out with a shoulder injury. He can't play against Bama in the Rose Bowl. And he was the winningest quarterback ever until Kellen Moore overtook him. But, like, based on actual ability, Colt McCoy was like a 6-foot screen artist who won a ton of games at Texas. Jaden carried a team by himself. If Colt McCoy had Jaden's defense that last year, you'd have lost 5-6 games.
See, so only thing I really understand from Colt McCoy is when he got to NFL and he used to get smoked all the time on the Browns. Like
he was a backup for like 900 years.
That's my earliest memories of Colt McCoy is James Harrison knocking him out the game.
It's a fun exercise to do. You can check it out on the list. I was curious if Jamarcus would have made the list. He didn't. And then I was also curious what Heisman winners were ranked worse than Jaden.
Okay.
Let me count them. They're right behind him, so you'll see if you can get them. There's one.
Kyler Murray got to be one of them.
No, he's up there in the top 10.
Whoa.
2.
Okay.
There are 2 Heisman winners behind Jaden.
Manziel.
No, Manziel's in the top 10.
Wow. Okay. All right.
No, Manziel's like 14, I should say.
Oh, okay.
But 2 Heisman winners. Jaden's 20th.
Okay.
And there's 2 Heisman winners behind him.
Did they win it recently?
Yes.
Bryce Young?
Yeah, Bryce Young's 21 right behind him.
And Caleb?
And Caleb Williams is 24.
Hey, bang.
And I think Jaden was better than both of them.
Yeah, most definitely.
Caleb can do things that Jaden can't do, but Jaden can do things that Caleb can. And that was the whole thing I was talking about before the draft. I was like, if you're trying to bet on someone being the next Mahomes, like, good luck with that. Like, you going to try to throw crazy sidearm passes with crazy arm strength and run around behind the line of scrimmage and improvise and all that? Or do you want the guy who sits in the pocket and just dices people up? And, oh, by the way, is one of the fastest guys on the field. I always thought Jaden better. And I think both teams are very happy with their draft picks at this point. But I would also suggest that Ben Johnson there with Caleb if you had Jaden with Ben Johnson, it would be really good too. So we'll see. It's a fun list. You can check it out on ESPN.com, but I thought it would be a good little respite from the baseball talk today. Looks like LSU's threatening here in the top of the 4th inning. That looks like a replay of a sac fly, which is, it is. So that doesn't help me at all. I'll get a score update from LSU and Indiana, and we'll come back and talk a little recruiting with Sam Spiegelman next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It can be something simple with a bathroom renovation remodel. I say those two words and you automatically think, oh, renovation remodel, like that's going to take 3 months and it's going to be tens and tens and tens and thousands of dollars and I'm not going to be in my house. And like it can be one of those things, but this can be simple. It can be 3 days, tub to shower conversion. You've got this big bulky tub, jacuzzi that you don't ever use, and you've got this shower that's maybe malfunctioning, that's not working like it should. How about you take the shower out, put a linen closet in, 1 bath and closets, and then take that big tub space and turn that into a walk-in shower. Change the aesthetic functionality of your bathroom, add a little value to your home as well. It's an awesome opportunity, and David Duvall is going to be there every step of the way for you. You get that free consultation online at onebathandclosets.com. He'll let you know about the financing options that they've got available to you, 0% up to 18 months, and they're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go with a local company that's been at this for better than 30 years. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Get on by and get your po' boy there. Government between Foster and Jefferson. It's a Lenten Friday. Go check them out over there at Corks. Let's talk some recruiting. Sam Spiegelman with Rivals and the On3 Network. Good enough to give us some time here on this Friday on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sam, how are you?
Oh, I can't complain, hon. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Let's talk a little bit about the time of year that we're in now. Calendar's kind of gotten all jumbled up, but this LSU staff that got assembled in December and January is now able to kind of start putting together their first full class at LSU. Where are we right now in the recruiting calendar as we get into closer to spring football?
We're technically pretty early in the calendar, but in a lot of ways are also way ahead of previous years. This is because this is a whole new staff. They have a blueprint, guys that they were after at Ole Miss, guys that they had on their board for this 2027 class. This new assembly of personnel directors are all putting together new boards for LSU, and they are hitting the ground. They already did last month in January, getting to see a lot of prospects in home, getting to a lot of high schools across Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, California. You know it. You saw the LSU brand all across the country, especially getting kids excited about what Lane Kiffin and this new staff are building. But they're playing catch up with a couple of guys, of course, guys that may be committed elsewhere, guys that they had maybe just offered as a new staff. But like I said, they're also picking up the pace because next month they'll start having spring visits. In fact, they'll actually start having official visits later this spring in April, and of course when May and June arrive, there'll be some critical visits. And LSU, it may be only February. They got a lot of time to make up a lot of ground and or cement their status as the top for a lot of other prospects or in state and around the country.
One of the players that applies to a couple things you said there, one that was visited in the early period there and that is committed elsewhere is Easton Royal, big 5-star receiver from Brother Martin in New Orleans. I talked about him on my show a little bit yesterday, but what's your sense of where things stand with him as you enter the spring?
Yeah, this is going to be a recruitment that plays out up until National Signing Day, or at least until after these official visits. They're going to loom incredibly important. He's an early 5-star commitment for the Longhorns out of New Orleans, so that this is going to be a battle that LSU is going to be in it until the end. The interesting twist here, they're not playing from too far behind. LSU was a top school for Easton before he committed to Texas, and Lane Kiffin and George McDonald were among his top schools when they were at Oxford. He was in Oxford when they beat LSU last year for the second time. He's very familiar with this staff, and they know how much of a incredible talent that Easton Royal is. So the fact that they're going to get an official visit in May before he heads to Tennessee, before he heads to Florida and back to Texas, is a good sign for LSU as it looks to play catch up with Easton Royal and hopefully make a strong enough position to be in it until the end, until he makes up his mind for good.
Let's talk about another big-time in-state prospect that is currently uncommitted. That's Albert Simeon from South Louisiana, big offensive lineman. What are LSU's odds there, and what does his calendar kind of look like?
Yeah, this is another an in-state 5-star talent. Brad Davis was the first to offer Albert, I think, after his freshman season at Sam Houston. And LSU has always kind of floated in and around his top schools. They've led for various periods of time, but as more and more schools entered the mix, this became a little bit more of an open recruitment at this point. I don't know if there's a school in the country that's not taking its shot with Albert Simeon after what he did not only as a junior, but then in the Under Armour All-American game, the Polynesian Bowl. The measurables are off the chain with this young man. He's coveted by schools around the country, including LSU. So, the staff has made a really strong impression. They're trying to keep pace with a few others, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Alabama, all really covet this young man. Ole Miss is, of course, getting into the mix. He's got a great relationship with, Frank Wilson. But of course, LSU is going to be in this. They're going to get an official visit. They just confirmed a spring visit earlier this week as he was mapping out his calendar. So it'll be interesting to see how far they can get along in this race.
You wrote about Trey Moore earlier this week. I saw that up there. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite receivers in the country. He's right down the road from Austin and Pflugerville Weiss, and he is absolutely dynamic. His father played quarterback for Oklahoma. He's a big-bodied receiver, but that moves extremely well. And he's at the top of the board for a lot of schools in the state of Texas, and of course Miami is a heavy contender for this young man. And LSU was a team that I had heard creating some buzz around his school with after they had extended an offer. LSU is going to get him on campus twice in April for a spring visit and for a spring official visit. And listen, they're playing a little bit from behind right now, as I mentioned. He's coveted heavily by Texas and A&M, and they got big hitters like Miami involved. But LSU is very serious about him from what I've heard. He's one of the best at his position in the country. He's got a lot of interest in the Tigers, and we'll see if they can make a strong push in a couple of weeks when he gets to Baton Rouge twice in 1 month.
One Texas receiver to another, but this one committed to Texas Tech, Benny Easter Jr., 6'2", 190 from Humble. What can you tell us?
Yep, this is another blue chipper, one of the best in the country, an early commitment in-state to Texas Tech out of Houston. Has a lot of connections to Louisiana family, of course, in the boot. And he's starting to map out official visits. LSU is one of the teams that is really being considered for an official visit. So far, he's set to visit, of course, Texas Tech. He's got an official visit locked in to Ole Miss. LSU is on the short list of contenders trying to get him on campus, and I'm told it's very likely he ends up making that visit. LSU has been one of the teams piquing his interest so far after having just a really incredible junior season at Humble Summer Creek.
So based on big picture stuff, like we know that LSU went crazy in the portal this cycle because half the roster was gone for a coaching change. You anticipate that LSU will be aggressive in the high school ranks and try to sign, what would you say, 20, upwards of 20 in most classes?
Well, first of all, in this 2027 class, there's a lot of rich talent in the state of Louisiana, so I would expect that at least half, if not more, of their class is from the home state, which is always a great sign for a really talented recruiting class. The way that Lane Kiffin has spoken about this LSU job, it might be cliche, it may have been addressed multiple times before, but he's going to recruit very well in the high school ranks, and with a state like Louisiana, with neighboring states like Mississippi that he's very familiar with, and states like Texas where he has always recruited very well and has assistants familiar with on all of his coaching staffs. I just see this to be another top 10 class for LSU. They already have their centerpiece and their quarterback, Pop Houston. There's a lot of talent in Louisiana that's already leaning in that direction. I think if this staff starts to pull things together on the field, they're looking at another top 10 class with some national appeal, and the more they win, the more national appeal they'll have.
Just one more here, and on Pop Houston, would you wager a crisp $5 bill that he's the only quarterback in this high school class?
They needed to address that position, and they certainly did with Lane Kiffin, obviously Sam Levitt, and getting the other quarterback through the portal to add some depth at the position, which was, of course, very much needed. With a state like Louisiana, with Elijah Haven and Malachi Ziegler and some other really young, talented quarterbacks behind Pop Houston, you can never say never, but at the moment, LSU is not in the mix for Malachi Ziegler. I think he's pretty firm with SMU, though I can say that an offer would not maybe shake things up and have him reconsider. But I think it's pretty safe to say that SMU's in a good spot. Elijah Haven is moving closer and closer to a decision. Certainly he has relationships with some of the members on this LSU staff, but they would have a lot of ground to make up in a hurry. And so far, there's been no mention of the Tigers as with Elijah Haven, and he closes in on his decision. Now, could they go into Texas and add another arm? Certainly. That's not out of the realm of possibility, but right now I think they're pretty content with Pop Houston. He's pretty excited about this new hire in Baton Rouge, and certainly depth is needed, but I don't know if it'll come from the high school ranks necessarily.
Awesome. If you want some recruiting coverage, you can always get it over at Rivals on 3. Sam Spiegelman, part of the team over at the Bengal Tiger. Good enough to give us some time on this Friday. Have a great weekend, Sam.
Yep, you too, Hunt. Thanks for having me.
Sure will. It was our pleasure. Look, LSU ties the game 3-3, got the bases loaded and 1 out. Indiana going to the bullpen. LSU offensively has been very good in their game today against Indiana. Had one bad inning on the defensive side, had an unfortunate swinging bunt that turned into 2 runs for Indiana, but LSU's out hitting them 9-3 at this point, and I feel good about where LSU is. Got to cash in here with the bases loaded and 1 out in a tie ball game in the 5th, and we'll let you know if they do that when we come back from this timeout and close things out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, or online at fabrychevrolet.com. February is the month to get out there and get a brand new truck. If you're a Chevy buyer, maybe your lease is up, maybe it's just time to get in a new one in 2026. Silverados up to $11,000 off MSRP or 1.9 APR financing. How about on the GMC side? Sierras up to $13,000 off MSRP. You're talking 5 figures here. $13,000 off MSRP or 0.0 APR financing. You cannot beat that. I'm not a mathematician, but that's pretty good. You can check them out at fabrychevrolet.com. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. The Fabry family's been in action in Baton Rouge for 35 years. You know their reputation. You know what kind of customer experience you're going to have with the folks at Fabry. And you can now check them out in St. Francisville on Highway 61 at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. The entire inventory is online at fabrychevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
LSU and Indiana from Jacksonville, Florida. They're there at VyStar Ballpark, which is the home of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, which is the minor league affiliate of the Miami Marlins. I only tell you that because if you want to talk about Jumbo Shrimp, talk about Corks. Bring our Friday shows each and every week. It's a Lenten Friday. If you're looking to pick up dinner on the way home from work, stop by Corks. Get the family a big old mess of fish, mess of shrimp, tray of fries. It's fantastic over there at Corks. The shrimp are just big, jumbo. Catfish is excellent. They'll make you a po' boy as well. Great stuff over there at Corks. Check out the menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. I was trying to think of the name of the family pack. The Big Haul. That's what it's called. It's like a Hester-sized family. Get the Big Haul. Bring it on home, and you'll enjoy dinner on this Lenten Friday. Corksfishandshrimp.com is the website. Tigers leave them loaded, but they do take the lead. It's 4-3 LSU over in Jacksonville. We'll have a full report on the weekend to come. On Monday's show, I'll have a write-up on every game over there at louisianasports.net, including this one, which is moving on to the bottom of the 5th inning. Matt will be on the next couple of hours for After Further Review. So weekend is fast approaching. So one thing left to do for us, and that's, of course, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so after leading Indiana to the national championship, Coach Kirk Cinetti has finalized a contract with the school that will pay him an average of $13.2 million through the 2033 season. Goodness, seeing them numbers is crazy. 2033, Lord, we're getting old. The $13.2 million annual salary places Cignetti alongside Kirby Smart and new LSU head coach Lane Kiffin as the only coaches to make at least $13 million annually. So does Coach Signetti deserve the pay raise? Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Pretty easy question to answer. You win the national championship at Indiana.
Yep.
You get it. That's like it's like who?
Like the Pelicans winning a national championship. I'm about to say this. I mean, winning that championship.
Would you be willing to have the Bensons pay $13 million for a coach if he won the NBA title?
Listen, I will pay her $13 million if somehow she turned the Pelicans into a championship contender.
You'd have to take out a sizable loan from our friends at First American Bank and Trust to get that done, sir.
Hey, they got me. They sponsor us. They got us. Okay, so 3-time Pro Bowler right guard Wyatt Teller is the latest stalwart who won't return to the Cleveland Browns next season in 2026. That means the Browns are replacing their entire starting O-line from last season. So is it crazy to try and replace your entire O-line in the offseason? Take it or leave it.
LSU did it last year, so I'll take it. Didn't go
I'll
so
take
hot.
it.
Look, what about the Saints? The guy went to the Pro Bowls.
No, we
Sign him
need
up.
a guard. We need a guard. He's a guard. I mean,
put him on the left
Ruiz is
side.
literally a turnstable, so we can use it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, hey, Hunt, we talked about it earlier this week. What do the Saints have for once in a long time? Some money.
They do. We talked about it with our guy Ross Jackson at the top of the hour, at 2 o'clock. They've got a little bit of cash to spend. It sounds like they're $8 million over, but they got to set the cap and then they'll restart. The Chiefs cleared up $43 million a couple of days ago,
Literally.
so it can be done. Drop of a hat.
It can be, and again, trying to build around Shuck. What you gonna do? Shore up the O-line, get him some weapons. The guy's a 3-time Pro Bowl. I know the Pro Bowl is kind of watered down, but this is before that. You know,
How
I
do
feel like-
linemen even make the Pro Bowl now? Like, what do they do
That
when
is a
they
good
get
question.
there? They can't play flag football.
I guess they do like a little skills challenge. Like they do like
What skills do they have?
I guess being strong. That's a
Strongman competition?
They need
How
to
many
bring
times
that
you can
back.
flip a tire?
They need to bring that back. Actually, that's how they will revive it. But no, Saints, come on, man, Mickey. Hey, hit me up, Mickey.
Would you rather watch the World's Strongest Man things that they do where they flip tires and
Yes.
pull the school bus, or would you rather watch the loggers, like spin on the logs or like chop the trees down or whatever they do?
Okay.
Which is a better worthless use of ESPN's time?
All right, it just depends on the time of day. Like if it's early in the morning, I kind of might want to watch the World's Strongest Man competition. You know, I get to, I can do that. I
Pull a
might,
school bus?
Yeah, you can make, motivate me to go outside a little bit. So no, I might do that one. Now if it's late at night, let me see some logging, something to chill in the background. I ain't really watching it, but I might tune in Guy Falls or something like that. So that's it. Oh, got to talk about your favorite head coach, Mick Cronin. So UCLA head coach Mick Cronin.
I saw him today.
Yeah, he issued an apology today after he threw his own player out of the game. He said it's the only reason why he sent him out of the game because he thought he had a hard foul that he basically took the guy out or whatever. So is that still a valid reason to kick your own player out of the game? So take it or leave it.
I'm leaving everything with Mick Cronin right now. I watched this 4-minute apology to his own player. Yeah, I watched the whole thing too. He didn't apologize to the media member that he just belittled like the jerk that he was the other day and that he still is. Like he was issuing the mea culpa. Apologize to the guy that you said, I'll give you the award for the dumbest question I've ever been asked.
Reasonable.
And then he jumped right. It just, that whole thing rubbed me the wrong way. He's just clearly just not a nice person.
Nah.
It just is what it is. I think he's a very good basketball coach, but do I support him or want to hang out with him? No. And the fact that he went back on one thing he did and then just ignored the other one is ridiculous to me.
Oh, he actually said, I think I was reading it. He said, yeah, I'm just apologize for my humor. Yeah, he's like,
He said
people
it
don't
was
understand
hilarious.
people don't
it's
understand
really
my
funny.
humor.
That was
Yeah.
really super funny. You should go on stand-up. You'd kill.
He said, people don't understand my humor, so I don't want to embarrass their university. Yeah, that's the worst
Awesome.
type of people.
That was
so
super cool. He was hilarious.
That's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it for Mick Cronin. I'm so out on Mick Cronin.
You
Don't
won't
have
be alone.
time for it. I'm sure he's real concerned about that, too. I'm sure he won't even be able to get out of bed tomorrow morning because this lowly afternoon radio host in Baton Rouge doesn't support the way he handles the media. I'm sure that's just going to be devastating for Mick. But doesn't change the way I feel. Tigers, Case and Evans with a 1-2-3 fifth inning. We go to the sixth. LSU has a 1-run lead in Jacksonville. Evans probably done, and we'll see what they do with the Tiger bullpen. He's just about 80 pitches, and I believe Jay told John Eads of WAFB that he wasn't going to go over 90. So maybe Evans does come out for the next inning. He's thrown 2 good ones in a row. Just had the one hiccup, and we'll talk about it. I'll write about it at LouisianaSports.net. It has not been a bad outing for Kaysen. Just had a one inning that didn't have great fortune, and they were able to hang a 3-spot on him. So LSU with a lead there in Jacksonville. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks. As we mentioned, if you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand. A lot of football today for those that aren't eating up with baseball in the middle of February. We talked to Ross Jackson. from Locked On Saints and LouisianaSports.net at 2 o'clock. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talk to Preston Guy at 1:15 about LSU football. We also talked a little LSU baseball as well with the 2026 MLB draft rankings that include LSU prospects on the team and in the high school ranks. So if you want to catch any of that, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Always appreciate it if you like, subscribe, rate, and review. That helps us get our content in front of as many eyeballs as possible. I'm going to go watch a little bit of LSU baseball, get a story up on LouisianaSports.net. Matt is going to sit in this seat and drive you home on After Further View. Everybody have a happy, safe, try to stay warm this weekend. We'll see you Monday on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Lifetime Roofing BR is Lifetime Roofing LA is the website. Lifetime Roofing LA is the website. You're looking at a new roof potentially. That can be a sizable commitment financially. They know that at Lifetime Roofing. And so that's why they can finance that new roof. If you're looking to sell your home currently and you think you're looking at that roof going, man, I should probably get a new roof put on there for the resale value. You can do that, and they will finance that. They are in the retail roofing game, and for 18 months, you can get 0%. That's same as cash for those 18 months. Even if there's a deductible involved and you're making a claim, they can finance that deductible. You got a 2%, you got a 3% deductible on your home. Want to finance that? They can do that at Lifetime Roofing. And as of January 1st, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. That includes materials backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. They're right here in Baton Rouge. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.